I decided to go to Wisconsin for a couple of reasons. One was that this friend of mine who was a year older and who was there told me, this is really ridiculous, that there was a lot of cute boys in Madison. So that attracted me. Secondly, it was relatively easy to get in, and my grades weren't great, and the tuition was reasonable. And third, I knew that it had a lot of radicals like me there, so that's what attracted me. There's civil rights, there were socialists, there were communists, there were Trotskyists, there were progressive labor types, there were sane nuclear policy. I mean, it was very densely political. And the president of the college then hired Harvey Goldberg to teach European and World Revolution. He hired William Appleman Williams, who was this very important figure in his critique of American foreign policy. He hired this guy, George Mossey, who was also very important in terms of the beginnings of a critique of the European intellectual tradition, and also the introduction of students to people that we had never heard of, but who turned out to be very important. And Wisconsin was known as a very progressive history department. What the teachers were teaching extended into the community because there were organizations, there were study groups. I was in a Marxist study group. I was in one of the first feminist study groups where we read Simone de Beauvoir. And so it was a kind of cutting edge place. And plus, there are also all of these demonstrations that were happening. The first demonstration I remember was in 1960 for the test ban treaty. We had a demonstration and all these fraternity kids came down with sort of baseball bats, and they kept saying, "Go back to Russia, go back to Russia." So it was a very politicized environment. And then the civil rights movement came along. We organized this huge sit-in the shoe department in Sears-Roebuck because it wasn't integrated, and we'd have people, a black person and a white person, go up to buy some shoes, and they wouldn't sell the shoes to the black person, and then we'd dump all the shoes on the ground and run away. And then, there was Selma, there was all of these civil rights protests, and then the war. So by 1965, we were having vigils, we were having demonstrations, and in 1967, the Dow Chemical Company came to recruit students on campus, and they had produced napalm, and so the local SDS chapter organized a sit-in that actually got busted by the police, and people were very badly beaten up. So that was kind of the real beginning of the activism as a mass movement, not just as a small movement.